and information to 23 countries. It comes instead from people, many of them young, who just don't really care what's true and what isn't. Some young people, and some older ones too, say the truth is so hard to find, why make the effort? Others say whatever is true or not true, what does it mean to me? Increasingly, we see these days young people who are totally cynical about politics, society, and sometimes even about their own country. If they can work anywhere in Europe, why should the Czech Republic be so important to that? If politicians are all corrupt, why should they vote in elections? If Russia took over the Czech Republic, but they could still work on their laptops and watch videos on TikTok, would it really make a difference? We are what we eat, and our worldview depends on the information we consume. Educators need to build pride in their country's history and in all those who suffered for the freedoms we enjoy now. Otherwise, young people will take their freedoms for granted and just focus on what's wrong. In some countries of Central and Eastern Europe, education has been so poor that young people engage in Soviet nostalgia, wishing they could return to a time when in your students to challenge what's in their textbooks and even what you say in class. I teach a class at Columbia University about the World Information War, and I require my students to write comments on the readings I assign. And I give extra credit if they challenge with facts what the readings say. I also tell them to interrupt me if I say something in class that's wrong. I'm right most of the time, so people aren't interrupting me constantly, but it's important that they know that they have that freedom. Students also need to recognize bias and manipulation. To make them aware of that, you might spend some time yourself on TikTok. Look for videos that are one-sided or that make their arguments through emotion instead of logic. Talk about those videos in class so students understand how they can be manipulated. I ask my students to create their own disinformation campaign on some subject by putting them in the shoes of a real disinformation operator, they learn how to construct a false narrative and make it attractive and convincing. By learning that skill, they can see when it's being used against them. Sometimes schools have whole courses in media literacy. These are very valuable. Many of the same skills, though, can also be taught in the course of other classes. Some of the best media literacy training takes place in Finland. It starts in kindergarten. When I was there, I asked one of their experts how you can teach any kind of literacy in kindergarten. The kids aren't even literate. I learned that what they do in kindergarten is play the game of telephone. I'm sure you know it. It's the game where you have a whole line of kids lined up and someone whispers a message to the first kid, and then by the time it comes out after being repeated by each child along the line, it's totally different. From that, even kindergartners can learn the importance of getting information from the original source instead of what someone else says. As Finnish children become older, they encounter media literacy in some form in almost every class. In math, they learn how numbers and graphs can be distorted to deceive people. In art and computer classes, they learn how people distort photos and video. In history class, they learn how disinformation has been used in Finnish history. Finnish teachers also regularly take their students visit newspapers, radio, and television stations to talk with journalists and learn how they determine what's true. Perhaps you already do that here. Some of you may be interested in bringing your classes to Radio Free Europe, Radio Liberty. I think I'll stop here since I'm eager, since I'm sure you're eager to get on to your live speakers. I'm very sorry not to be with you today, and I would greatly value the opportunity on some occasion to talk about these very important matters in person. Thanks for listening.
Zřejmě to nahrával v době před Trumpem. Tak pokud, před inaugurací, pokud byste někdo plánoval tady výlet do Radia Svobodná Evropa, pak se pospěšte. Tak, dámy a pánové, druhý panel, který vlastně pan Thomas Kent má vlastně téma jakési mediální gramotnosti a kritického myšlení směrem k výukovým materiálům a k metodickým materiálům, které máte nebo nemáte. O tom budeme mluvit s následujícími panelisty. Kdo se vrací, je pan Petr Lužička, zástupce ředitele základní školy. Vy si sedíte kam chcete, máte tu volbu. Dále bych rád jsem ke mně pozval senioristu a